Hello there, welcome. I am Ren. I am working with UX is Fine's technical designer, and we are streaming the development of a game over the upcoming episodes. And so I've got the game on screen right here. It's called Winterreach Emporium. It's a game made by 4 guys, a little indie team. They posted on Reddit asking for assistance with UMG, looking for some expertise. I happened to come across it, and now we are going to help them out. So let's take a quick look at the video for their game. It's a fantasy ski shop simulator type game. I've got the GitHub repo. Been jumping into Unreal and taking a look through the assets and talking to the devs. So anyway, trailer within the first 20 seconds doesn't really show you what it is, but I think the gameplay is probably easier to tell what's happening in here. You get to place down these buildings, and you can buy and sell these items and basically rack up the cash and build out all the items and unlock them as a research tree. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on in terms of that sort of like shop simulator vibe. So there's parts of UI already implemented in the game. And so what I needed to know, this is the game. What I needed to know was where are we at? Where are we going next? And so they gave me this UI systems tracker. So we'll be starting off with the research tree, build menu, rep menu, the main game HUD update, and the staff menu. And then it goes on. There's a bunch of other stuff. Alongside that, there's a demo planner. So there are a couple of different programmers. There's 4 guys in the original team, plus myself now, working through producing this game in the next 3 months. Although I won't be working on it the whole time. I'll be sort of like front loading all the UI. And so with that priority list, I asked the team, could you get me, some Trello tickets with some information on, I need pictures, I need to know where the Google Drive is, I need a description of how it works. And so they went ahead and did that. And the top prior one right now is that research menu. So we can see that here. It looks like this. And this is one of those real problems in UI for them, because there is no spline editing tool in Unreal. There's nothing to do these splines. And then there's some nice ways to produce the links between these so that they're actually like anchored together. So I'm going to be helping out with that immediately. And then there's a description here. There's a link to the Google Drive, and the Google Drive has a whole bunch of assets on it that were produced before I arrived. So that's awesome. We have all the assets that we could need and want for, which means that we can crack on helping out with the production on this game. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the research page. Let's try W underscore. Let's see naming conventions. Awesome. We've got a little research tree here, and something that I produced in the past on a project was a primer called the primer spline widget. And I made a light version. I just removed all the chaff and just kept the bit that we need for this project and cooked that up. So we have this plugin. And what we can do with that is we can actually just add a spline widget light to our demo. So we got that here in the border. Let's put it here, and it should be somewhere on screen. So here we go. We've got it over here in the corner. However, it's miles outside the canvas. So we've got some canvas issues that we need to look into. What's going on with these canvas, I wonder. Let's take a little look. Let's get rid of some of these assets. We've got a border, and that represents a darkened back color. We can actually minimize a few things just to see what's going on. Okay, and then we've got a canvas panel that has another canvas panel on it. So my first instinct is to say that we don't need this first canvas panel. So we'll replace the child. Now we get a large screen. So let's go desired here. Or maybe custom. It's interesting, I can't see the widget here. Here we go. Right, so let's bring this out to 1920 by 1080. And then bring that canvas panel in. Okay, so I see what's happening now. We've got some sort of image inside this canvas that's enormous. And so that is going to determine the size of the entire screen, because it's filling up that space by the looks. And also, yeah, we can see here the position and the size, 5,000 units. So we want that to scale based on the screen. So that's the first thing that we're going to do. We're going to actually replace this. Actually, do we want to replace the border? I think we do. I think we do want to replace this border. Using a border is a bit of a problem, because a border's size is determined, well, in this case, because it's on a canvas, we're able to determine the size. But typically a border is meant to contain things, in comparison to an image, which would just be an image. And so for this case, what I actually want to do is I think I want to have a scale box in here. And instead of a canvas panel immediately, I'm going to wrap this with an overlay so that I can put elements in here in this hierarchy without necessarily worrying too much about the rest. So let's full size this scale box. The reason for this scale box is we can put an image in here and we can tell it how we want it to scale. If we go look back at the reference image, it's literally just a full screen. So what we do, we'll get rid of this canvas panel for 1 second. We've got this image here. This is the research image. Drop that into our brush. And now it scales to this size. So if we go to ultra wide, what we can do is we can say, well, that center area is where the canvas lives. We can also set this to scale if we really want. I don't think there's necessarily any design here for anything special, so we can just go scale to X. So it still looks cool. And we might want to align it to the bottom. I think we can do that. The scale image here. So that we get this cool motif at the bottom left. Or we could try out different things. We could try scale to fit, or scale to fill, sorry. And that will change some of these dots, but it's not too much of a big deal. Let's have a look. Yeah, so we do lose some of the details, and that's, you know, just a caveat of it, right? So here, when we're in the normal 1920 by 1080, we get all the coffee stains in the top right and bottom. And so then it's just up to decision making as to how we want that to feel. Hello from Brazil, Gassa, welcome. Nice to see you. So, scale box here. What else could we do with this? So let's say we're playing on like something a little bit smaller, maybe a 5x4 sort of resolution. What I would want to do is have this image actually be kind of left aligned, so you always get this design in the bottom right. And then when we go to full size here, we could also, so we could choose to bring it down. We get these coffee stains, could choose to bring it up, and we get these ones. And I think these ones at the bottom are more interesting, so we'll stick with those. So that's our background. We've now got this nice scaling background that doesn't malform the artwork. It keeps the artwork looking good. So that's our background. Let's just name it appropriately. So scale box BG and image BG. And for these, we probably don't want them to be hit testing. So we'll do hit test invisible self and children. And now we're onto our canvas. So let's show the canvas again. And you can see what's happening here is you've got this massive, massive border that we don't want. So we'll get rid of that. Now we can start actually creating the layout that we need. So if we go and take a look again at the reference image, we've got three main areas of the canvas that will be interactable or non-interactable. So we've got the top panel, which is just the title area. We've got the main area, which is where the interactions will happen. And then we've got the bottom area with some tabs that can change between what types of research you're looking at. So let's make sure that that is set up. And to do that, we'll use a vertical box. So in UMG, it's all about maintaining the size of elements in sort of a top-down hierarchy. You just got to think of it as like, okay, what do I see? Okay, how would that be handled? And it's like, that can be handled, you know, in a vertical box. There'll be 3 vertical items. So we've got this border element here. This looks like it's border title, and then it looks like we've got text title. And then we're going to put that into our vertical box as our first element. And for our vertical box, we'll make it full screen. And then we'll make that first element auto size, so it knows it wants to be a certain size. Now, it also wants to be centered. And what I can see is, because we're using a border, there is no information to tell this border how big to be. So this border is just trying to be as small as it can be, and as small as it can be is the text that's within it. And so if we actually remove that text, the border will disappear, because the border, which is just a panel with a graphic, the panel has nothing in it to determine its size. So that's why we end up with that sort of result. So another way to do this is you could have an overlay with an image, and the image will determine a size. Or you could have a size box to determine the size, or you could have an overlay with a spacer and a border with a text. There's a whole bunch of different ways that you could resolve this. And the way that we're going to do it, I think, is just with a size box. I think we're just going to go for a cheeky little size box in here. I'm just going to shove one of those in. And we're just going to scale this up to something. And this is where actually I'm at the point, I'm just going to hide whatever this is. In fact, I'm just going to delete whatever that is, because I don't know what that is. Just get rid of it. Okay, so soundtrack in the back, by the way, is the soundtrack for this game. So we now have this size box determining the size of this border. Now, let's go take a look at this graphic. This is the first thing. I see it a lot in this project. There is a lot of wasted space on here, and we're probably not necessarily thinking about power of 2 sizes, right? So, well, we are actually 2048 by 512. We can go to power 2 or power 4 in UI. I don't think there's an issue with that. So as long as it is a number of 2 at the end, or a number of a multiple of 2 or a multiple of 4, which basically means everything, then we should be okay. So let's go and open up. Well, we need to we technically need to download all the graphics, but I think the quicker way for this case right now that we're in is to actually just go find this asset and right click, asset actions, export this, and I'm just going to make a new working folder here. So let's go, where have we got? Unreal, no, it's not going to be in there. It's going to be in GitHub, and then it's going to be in Winterreach Emporium, working files, and then here I'm just going to make an exports folder. Just export that out. It's happy days there. And then we'll open it. Totally just smashing it open. Let's go find it. Where did I put it? I know where I put it. I put it there 2 seconds ago. GitHub, Winterreach Emporium, working files, exports. Nice. Okay. So now we have this. First thing that we want to do is just edit, or is it image, trim. That's just going to bring us down to the size that we actually need. And now we can just check the size here. So this is fine. If we say divided by 4, see, we'd get a weird number, right? So not good. No, we don't want to change the size of that way. What we can do, the way I like to do this is just take a picture, because it's super quick and easy, and then just go to GPT and be like, give me a power 4. Multiple of 2 or multiple of 4, I should say. Not power of, because this, maybe power of does matter. Because when you think about textures, it's basically there is a chunk of memory in the computer that's going to load that asset. And in that case, what we loaded there was a 2048 by 512. So it would load into a chunk that's that big, but we're only filling the information of the middle, right? Now, if we export this, and let's say the next biggest size up is 2048 by 512, then it's still going to take up that chunk of data. So that's basically where you end up, either way. So I'm just asking GPT, give me the best size for this for Unreal. And have a sip. So I'm just double checking my convictions over on GPT right now and just being like, okay, is this absolutely necessary for UI in Unreal? Or Unreal's texture compression is block compression works in fixed blocks, 4x4 texels. So the real constraint for any compress is a multiple, not a power of. So yeah, it just needs to be a multiple, which means I think this is going to be fine. We don't need MIPS or streaming for this, really. Like, the UI style set's going to be loaded. We are going to... Okay. Let's have a look. Okay, so we can go to 264 by 268, and that'll do us. 264 by 268. Wait, what's going on? 264. Oh, we can go either way, it's saying, basically. And 1228 is a multiple of 4, it's 307. It's not a, yeah, okay. It is divisible, basically. Which is fine. And so is 266 is divisible by 2, so we're just gonna leave it. We're just gonna leave it. But this is much nicer. This is gonna be cleaner. Cleaner to use is another really important thing to consider. So basically, before, it was this massive thing, and then we would have to pad it negatively and do some weird and interesting things just to get it to be on the canvas in the way that we want it to be on the canvas. Now, instead, I'm just going to jump in, save that, re-import this guy, and then we'll just re-import it from there. Boom. Sorted. One thing I'm just going to double check is the reference viewer. But yeah, now that we've got that, we're happy. Where's the reference viewer in here? Right here. So is this used anywhere else? Absolutely not. It's used in the research tree. Perfect. Now you can see it's actually sizing it correctly. So one test that we can do here for different languages, if we were to do different languages, is just scale that, right? So now scale that text out. So now we have an issue. We would want this to draw as a box, and then we will just put 0.5 on here. Compile that, and why isn't that working, I wonder? So let's just go, I think it was 1228 by 266. It should be drawing as a box. It has a size box around it, something that we did earlier. We'll now go and replace that, because... Will we replace that? I don't think we will. We'll do a width there. Here we go. We won't override the width, but we will override the height. We'll make sure that the height's nice. In the border here, we should be seeing sort of like a stretch of the center area. When we do want to give this a little bit of padding from the left and right as well. So let's go 50. Yeah, 50 looks good. Okay. So now we have that. Let's just go and double check our border title here. Just play with the right hand clamp here. So we get to basically retain the detail up until the point where we don't need to anymore. So we'll do the same on the left. You can see how it stretches otherwise. This is what the image would have looked like. This is how it's going to look now. And then that middle area it's fine. You don't notice the stretching. That's all good. Then we've got to consider that there's some clipping that can occur on the left and right here. So I think we're going to go for like sort of a 0.3. Actually, well, what can we do here? Can we go, no, we don't want to go bigger. We want to go like 0.2 or something. Oh, this is getting real spicy. Something like... It's about retaining the details, right? Yeah, look at these details on the right. I've messed them up. Totally messed up. So it's not always easy. Yeah, okay. I can't reset those. 1228, 266. We'll go and look at the original artwork quickly. Yeah, this goes off and to the right side here. So that is what it does. Okay, there we go. Right. And then it's got this detail here that comes down and it basically gets clipped. Oh. We want to be around 0.25 here. So nice stark contrast working on a sort of cozy game in comparison to the FPS stuff that I've been doing. 0.125. 0.15. Okay. So that top is still not good, so let's work on that. Let's bring that down so we can leave it there. And I don't think it looks too bad on the right. Now this is an extreme circumstance, so we don't really need to worry about it too much. This is how it's going to look. We'll go look at our image. From Photoshop, we got these little divots, this little motif here. Looks fine to me. Okay, so height override though, 266 wasn't it? Hang on, wasn't it 266? This is where I think the best thing that we can do for this project is actually bring in the image that we're going to use as the template. So I'm just going to save it to... I need to save this game as a quick access item. Here we go, working, and then we'll do references. References. Okay, so I'm going to pop this reference in here, and then we're in the assets research here, so that seems reasonable to me. I'm just going to drop it in, save that. Now that we have an overlay in, now that we have this overlay here, what we can do is, if we move this down a bit, is drag this directly into that overlay. If only that just worked first time. Drag it into the overlay. Thank you. Full size that, and then we'll just make it 1920 by 1080. Well, actually, it won't matter because we are drawing at 1920 by 1080 in the top right here. And then we've got some issues because this actually isn't 1920 by 1080, so let's go and fix that in Photoshop. Okay. Control-O-I, 1920 by 1080. And then we just want to get basically rid of everything that's outside that panel. That's why I like the source sort of art, not the art that's been screenshotted. Select the inverse here and delete it, and then just bring these corners out. Just non-uniformly in this case, because it's not like I'm working from a Figma that's exact, so I'll assume that that was the intent. Save that, and then I can re-import this now. So let's go ahead and re-import that. Cool. This border has a little bit of padding, which is fine because that's the intent. And then this is the screen. So what I like to do at this point is I like to create a test animation and have this image here. Just call it image ref. Grab that image. We're just going to animate the render opacity of this from 1, then we'll give it a little bit of padding to 0, and then hold 0, and then run back to 1. and then just hold 1. And so now when you press play, you've got like this toggle, right? And you can click this button down here to loop that. So there's a couple of things we can see. The nice thing about doing it this way is I can lock this image ref so I don't click it anymore. I'm actually clicking the items in the background. And then we can sort of check out a couple of things, like the coloring on this border title is wrong. Yep, now the coloring is correct. And then we can hold it halfway, which is cool. And then go back into our size box and just play with that size. Get our padding correct. So we'll go from the top here about 50 units. Change that size a little bit. Just bring this down to maybe 45. Looks good. Merchandise research bench is 2 lines. So we will fix that. Maybe by wrapping. So if we come down here, go wrap, but we'll wrap at. Just bring that wrap at number up a little bit. So we get 2 lines. Then we can see the color is gray, but the actual color in the reference is this red color. So what we'll do is we'll go in color grab that by going here. Cancel. Right. Bring this over. Now color grab this. And then I'm going to actually save that in here and create a new theme with a name. It's called UI. Save that. Okay, so now when we switch between them, we're a little bit closer again. You can see there's a lot more padding on the right and left here. So I'm going to actually make a minimum size for the size box. Minimum desired width. About here. You can see that this is crunched really badly, so I still need to work on that. And I think one reason is that this image is 2 times the size it needs to be in terms of having been exported, so I'm going to half the size. Yeah, we'll save that. The disk copy of this was changed since you last opened it. Do you want to save anyway? No, I guess I'll save it somewhere else. What we could do instead of re-importing this actually is just load bias it by 2. Which has not done anything. Oh, because it's got no maps because it's a UI material. So now we're in all kinds of fun realms. Okay, so yeah, the only way to... I'm just going to re-import this for 1 second, and then we should get a better representation. Because this will be half that size now. Of course, it doesn't work. And so what we could do is we could say, fine, just be the image. The problem is when you expand this bit, we're not expanding this right now, but yeah, it's not exactly made for a 9 slice, because when you slice here and you slice here, if these don't match, and that definitely doesn't match on the right hand side, so there's not really any way around it. So we're just going to leave this as an image, I think, because that's just going to be cleaner. Artwork wise, we've halved it. We're not seeing any difference at 1:1, and since when this goes up to like, you know, a 4K, we still want it to represent in the same way. It should be fine. Should be fine. Okay, got a nice research bench label. So now we can scrub this. And we can see that the font size is different. The font in general might even be different. But let's change the font size first. Let's just go 40. Nope, 38. That looks good. And then we can see that the line height is actually different. So if we scroll down a little bit, go to advanced, you can change the line height here. So we can bring that down. And now you notice that it's brought the top line down and we're not in the right place. So then you can change the margin. So you could just say -15. And then you're getting pretty close to the intents now, -18. You can see as well that the kerning, well, I can see two things: merchandise. Merchant with an A. Merchandise is the correct spelling. Merchandise from the artist, I imagine. Correct spelling there. And then, okay, so research bench. We can see that the kerning is a little different, right? And by kerning, I think it's called kerning. I mean, in here it's called letter spacing, and we can space out these letters a little bit if we want to. And then we need to change the wrap-at value just a little bit. So now we have a really spaced layering here. Let's go 22. Oh, I just changed the size of the font. That was a mistake. Let's go 50. Yeah, 90% there, so I'm just going to leave it. I don't think they need it to be 100% perfect. Now the spicy part. So we have these splines that we didn't have the capability to create. Now minus the capped ends, which I removed from the plugin. I might add them back in the code. But anyway, so we could add those caps back, and then we've also got this kind of just mottle across these lines to make them feel a little bit more like pencils. So we're going to try and create that right now. So okay, we're over here. Let's have a look at our tree canvas. So when we show that, it's all this stuff up here, and it's just enormous. So let's bring this down. Yeah, the concept was to put this into the vertical box, because now what we can say is that this vertical box fills the remaining area, and everything in the vertical box then exists, yeah, relevant to that. And then we research item entry. Yeah, cool. So this is the tree canvas panel. We're going to call this canvas panel, so we like to name it what it is at the beginning. So for naming conventions, it's like T_thing, right? Texture. It's a texture underscore the thing, or at least this is how I approach it. And so you think of that in the same way with other things, right? Canvas panel underscore the subvariant. So if it's like, if you've got 3 layers deep, it's like, oh, it's the texture for the research tree page 2, right? You're going down in hierarchy. You're saying it's firstly it's a widget, then it's for this screen, then it's for this page, then it's for this thing, or a texture or whatever. So we're going to call this canvas panel underscore research. Is that what it is? Or items, I guess you could call it. Let's go and read. Let's go do some reading. So on the Trello it says, right, the research tree is a full screen bench that the player will open up and start the research. The player should have a way to track the research progress. Also, the arrows and ornaments are for flavorful decoration. Totally up to you how to use them. The arrows and ornaments, I mean, I'm making it one-to-one. You gave me a picture, so this is what you get. It's going to look like this by the end of the stream. Or at least, yeah, I mean, it's going to look like this by the end of the stream because someone's done a good job on these items. So I don't need to worry about those. Those are looking pretty fabulous. We're just going to get the rest done, and a little bit of management, I think, because we've got an issue at the moment where all of these are just loosely hovering. They're all anchored where center mass. To which point it moves in unfortunate ways. So we need better management on how those anchors work, right? And I believe one way you can do that is you literally just put the anchor where it is. You just say, hey, now the anchor is relatively exactly where I put it. But but then you get this problem. So yeah, we're gonna need a better way to manage these items, because this is on like a 4K monitor. So oh yeah, I can see them all. They all look great. We just need to make it work on the smaller one, and then bringing back our reference quickly, we can see these items are also not the right size either. So we're gonna have to work on that quickly. Okay, let's save it all up. One thing I want to do before I get too far into the next bit is get these bottom items in, because at the moment those bottom items are empty, or there is no list. So let's get a horizontal in there. Stick that horizontal in the vertical box here. We'll make this a certain size by wrapping it with a size box for now. We may be able to get rid of this. So we're just going to bring this up. 120 units seems about right. And then we're just going to stick an image in here. And I think we're going to be able to source the images. Although technically these are buttons. I just need to double check if they've got Common UI enabled. Oops. Common UI? They do not have Common UI, so we're not working with styling activatable. They should definitely, I might need to talk to them about that. With the number of screens that are coming in and out of the game, and potentially multiple at a time, right? It starts to become a real pain to manage whether the cursor is on screen and all these sorts of things. You have to basically build your own push-pop stack. So what Common UI does is it means you don't need to store your own push-pop stack. You just use Common UI. It comes with it, right? So hair, aren't we? There we go. Whatever. Got my haircut yesterday. I wasn't a massive fan of the haircut, but hey, here. All right. Where are we at? We need to find, or we need to find where these sticky notes are. Whoa. Okay, we got a few, and we have these icon tabs here. I'm going to assume that these are the ones. These are the different types of research you can do: gloves, boots, skis, jackets, snowboards, and goggles. And then exiting the research tab. So these are all buttons. I would love to enable Common UI right now and create those buttons in like a heartbeat. But the problem with just enabling it in the middle of a project is it will just immediately start consuming input if you're not using it correctly. So I can't do that, which means I'm going to go and make a button. So let's do this the old-fashioned way. It's just W_button_. Can we just do button and then style it after the fact? We'll just do it manually. It's going to be fine. Button_research. All right, we're going to bring in one of those textures now. We'll just bring in this default one. Just stick that in the graph. Wrap it with a button. Call this button_research tab. Okay, let's go desired size so we can see how it's going to actually look. Okay. This is fine. We don't have any information about how the hover disabled or click states look, so we have to decide that as we go. And we do want some sort of consistency, so it's a conversation that I'm going to need to actually, I'm going to make a quick note. Little list of notes to ask the team next time I talk to them. It's just like, what is the consistent UX behind click states? Do you want, do you want all hovers to go darker? Or do you want everything to be slightly darker shades? And then when you hover it, it gets slightly brighter. When you click, do you want it to shrink or change color or tint? Or shift down a bit when it clicks, like you're pressing down on it. What sort of things do you want there? So that's a question I'll have to ask them later. Save that in a notepad file. Okay, so with Common UI, if you if anyone's interested, all of this styling here and the sounds and everything are just defined in like this separate asset, and then you can just put buttons all over your UI. You don't need to keep making, or you just don't need to make any children. So what we need to do, this becomes a little bit of a pain. We're going to make this button a variable, and we're going to have to start styling it, which is I might just ask them. Alrighty, so let's have a look here. Yep. I'm going to delete everything here. Tick, don't want tick. Bring the button in, set the style. There we go. Then we just got to make the style. So we make the style here, we've got the hover, etc. The concept is that we're just going to have a texture. In fact, it might be easier to do this in a different way. And I think, in fact, it is going to be a lot quicker to do it in a different way. So we're just going to have a texture 2D in here. It's going to be an object reference, because it kind of has to be. We don't, again, with Common UI, you get lazy images, which means you don't need to hard reference these, but you're going to open the research screen a lot, so it's fine that these little textures are hard referenced. And so, yeah, actually, instead of, I'm going to do exactly what I didn't like in another project that I saw, which is, we're just going to make this button invisible. And then within that button, we're going to have an image. And in order to get that button to actually hug the same size as the image, we get rid of the padding here, just compile it. And now we have our image, which also has its own padding, which we'll just get rid of. It also has imported these as normal maps. These are world normals. So let's go ahead and change all of these asset actions, or actually rather just sprite actions. Apply paper 2D sprite settings. That hasn't changed the world. It hasn't changed it from a normal map. It's obviously not a normal map. So let's go asset actions, edit selection by property matrix. And then we're looking for texture group. So we're just typing group here. And then we'll just change this to UI. Save all of those. And now, over here. No, it's still a compression normal map. Okay, we have more work to do. Asset actions, edit, compression. It thinks it's a normal map. We're going to go with user interface. Let's go back. Right, cool. Now we have a thing that looks like a button. Alrighty. Or it looks like a post-it note, I should say. I like to name everything. Name all the things all the time. Okay, image research tab, sweet. Make this a variable so that we can drop it in the graph here. Set texture. Oh, we can actually do set texture by soft. We can actually do that here. So this texture 2D can be a soft object, which is great. Close that, plug that in there. Right. That's the pre-construct. It's going to have no image by default, so we need to give it an image, and it's okay. That's okay. It's just a path. All right, so we have a button. In our background image, actually, what we could do, background color. If we were to undo that, we get this. We get this here, which we don't want. In our hover, there is a tint. I'm just going to make it something really egregious, like really dark here. And then I'm going to fill this UI with button research. Widget button research. Let's stick a bunch of those into our horizontal box, which is inside here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then our close button. So now we have a bunch of those. We jump into this view, we can actually see them. They are the wrong size. So we need to change the size of this. I think it's probably like 120 by 120. Let's just try that. Too big. Let's go 64 by 64. Just seen the GIF. It's a good GIF. It's a great GIF. Alrighty. Too small. 80. We'll go with 80. 80 by 80. Alright, yeah, so that's looking alright. And then there's a little bit extra padding between all of this. So just grab all of them, pad in. Just go 10 on the left, 10 on the right. Actually, 5 on the left, 5 on the right. Are we a bit too much now? No, we're looking good. Why are these very bright and not sRGB because of the normal map property? So asset actions, edit properties here. sRGB needs to be on. Standard sRGB, not. See, now it's the actual blue. Look at that, man. I know my stuff. Just like this problem, oh, it's that. This problem, oh, it's that. Does it? Yeah, you know, it feels good. It feels good. Okay, so the padding, yeah, padding is an annoying one. Firstly, the buttons are still too small, so let's go 84 by 84. Yeah, now they're just not padded correctly, so that's better at least. Let's go 8 by 8. I was right the first time. Maybe it was 10 by 10. No, I'm still not right. 12 by 12. Oh my god, just like 20. Going for cold. This is the wrong color, but that's fine. We're going to fix it soon. You know what? That's close enough. So these don't have icons on them, I guess because they hadn't got the icons yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and edit this button. We're going to make, whoops, I didn't want to open Visual Studio. We're going to make this an eyedropper so that we can actually pick this in the viewport. I'm going to close Visual Studio. Okay, we can now pick a texture. That's all good. There is a button in here that we cannot react to being pressed right now. So we need to expose that press. Let's go clicked here and then just on clicked research tab. And then we're just going to get the parent and we're going to get child index of ourself. And we're going to report that as the index of the button press. So in here, we'll add a little variable to say button index. And then we'll call that. And that'll just allow us to do a little switch in the research tree. Let's go and change the colors of all these, right? So we have all these. We know that the last one is this. Then we can rename this. So W button research, and we'll call this close. And then in the reference image, we did have that. Wait, no, it wasn't the reference image, was it? We have a separate reference image here, which is in order. So this is going to be easy. Now we just come in and we just start dropping these in. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what's coming next? 5, 7. Okay. Sorted. And now what we can do is, because we have all those buttons, we can go horizontal box tabs, make that variable, go into our graph and actually bind to all the button events. So we have an on paint here. Looks like someone was trying to draw a spline. I will show you the super awesome spline plugin that I've imported shortly. But first what we'll do is event construct. I like to put all of my functionality into functions. So bind to tabs clicked. Get that horizontal box. The tabs, get the children. Get all the children. And then we're going to bind to each of those. And then we're going to pull this out, a little for each loop. And then we'll do bind to, should be, oh, we have to cast it to our tab button. It doesn't exist. Cast to research. Did I call it research button? Button underscore research, fair. Bind to clicked. Create event. Create a matching event. On research tab clicked. And then I presume there will be a series of different research benches, right? And so there's different ways that we can manage that. We could either draw the whole, well, we're going to have to draw all of them because of the way that my spline widget works. And we could construct it. I'd prefer not to have to, wait, is that mine? Oh, that's massive. That is massive. Why is that massive? It's because we designed it at this scale, isn't it? Yeah. That's mega huge in this version. I'm just going to have to fix this quickly because otherwise I'm going to screw myself in the long run. Minimum desired height 130. Height override. Boop. What we need to do, essentially, in this vertical box is we need to set all of these 3 items to be fill rather than auto. And these top and bottom elements just want to be sort of like 20% of that fill. And so now when we scale it, we get some disgusting things happen. Well, firstly, you're not going to have a screen that's that size. So I have a screen that big, but you're not going to have a screen there. Okay. This should be centered. Nice. Okay. So that, it should scale. So yeah, this gets into a point where I'm not super happy. Yeah, you see how the text is attempting to scale? Well, let's save it. I don't want to lose my work, so I'm starting to do things now that have potential to just break it. Playing with some of this. Yeah, when you stretch that one over, it's really bad. Okay, so I think that the size box at the top's fill is too much. I think it needs to be 0.15 or even 0.1. And then that that top padding that we gave it is probably not necessary. He says, and then finds out it was absolutely, definitely necessary. Okay, 1920 by 1080 here. We do want that padding. We do want some padding. There. About that much padding. Scale it back down again. Okay, now we're feeling a little bit better about that. Super wide though. Min desired, maybe? No. Oh, right, yeah, the size box. Okay, well, we can actually get rid of the size box, I think. Replace. Because what we can do is we can say that the padding is going to determine the size. Oops. And then we can give it a minimum desired width in here. Good ball size. It's looking fine. It's looking fine. Okay. It's all about just doing it right the first time so you don't have to come back to it later. Yeah, so we have the buttons, we have a click event. There's a couple of ways that we can switch between what's in this canvas. Now, I think that the most reasonable thing to expect is that with a canvas like this, you would want to not break it, not break it. You would like to not break it. Wow, why can't I play with it? Just let me play with the things. Yeah, you want to move these things around, right? And you want to be like, oh yeah, these ones are here, these ones are there. But when I actually look at the image, it's very uniform. So what we could do is we could actually create an upgrade item, or widget itself that just self exists of its own accord. The center sits along that center line. You can see that here. The main unlockable exists here. And then to either side is the different levels, I guess, of that item. I think it's something like you've got boots, and then it's like, oh, you've got the goblin boots, the other dude's boots, these guys' boot, like the elven boots, the orc boots. And then of those, you've got 5 different levels of them, or 5 different styles. Or I might be wrong. It might be these are boots and these are the other thing, and these just take you to it. I'm not sure. All I got to do is get the layout working. And right now the layout says there is a widget, probably it can be top or bottom, and it has these lines on them, and I want to draw those into the canvas individually. Like I want to put 5 of them in a row rather than manually moving all these things around, right? I want that to be a consistent thing. So we're going to have to go and create ourselves a what would you call it, an unlock tree, sure. We'll call it an unlock tree, and then from there what you can do is you could either say there is a scroll box that holds these. Doesn't even need to be a canvas panel anymore. It's just a scroll box of them horizontally across the view. You can scroll your mouse to go left and right, or you can click and drag, and you could just have a couple of pages of scroll boxes with different configs inside of them, data driven, maybe by data asset, to tell the buttons inside what they do, what they call back to. You can also then do like, you could also have a widget switcher for that, depending on how you want to switch between these. That's where I'm thinking of going, is like this sort of widget switcher approach. We're going to delete this canvas panel, or we're going to delete everything from inside the canvas panel, or are we? I don't know yet. So there's a research item, it's an unlocked item, an unlockable item, or a locked item. Very cool. Okay. I don't see the represented state for this like super grayed out one, but maybe that's just like half done. Locked item. Yeah, it's just not fully gray. We're gonna sort that out with a retainer box probably. Let's actually go do that right now. Oh no. Yeah, so this is my least favorite way of doing things. If this is how I think it is, it's just going to be a ton of blueprint. No, it's not. Oh no, wait. Yep, and then there's a graph. Oh, what is this? Yeah. Yeah, so they've come across this problem as well. This isn't super nice. It's not the worst. It's also not super nice. One thing that I don't like about doing it this way, where you're like through code, although code is cool, code is cool. It feels like you're automating it, but what you're really doing is you're pigeonholing yourself into like every unlockable item and lockable item and locked item has this layout, and it cannot change unless I go in and do some code. And as a designer, that's not great. So what we'll typically do is we'll say there's 3 text blocks in here called item name, and maybe they can move around, or maybe there is only one item name, but the interior of the rest of this style is just in 3 widget switchers. You know, a widget switcher with 3 states, and those states can now be like really manually controlled, which is a lot nicer. And with MVVM, there's like a view bindings model where you can basically say all 3 of these texts read from the same thing. In the construction scripts, that's just the case of saying set text on all 3 of these. It just gives you more control. If the design is never going to change, and we can imagine it won't, then the way that this is done is actually perfect, and that is the way I would have done it as well. Where I'm like, oh, you know what? These are all the same. There's just a couple of changes. There's a couple of things being hidden every now and then. Sweet. Let's just go ahead and make it into this one widget. So this isn't looking too bad for the use case that we have. One thing that I'm not a big fan of, though, is the all this extra padding that's around this item. Don't know where all that's coming from, so we might have to go take a look. But it's not the end of the world. So anyway, we should get the we should get the locked state working properly. I don't like that this is a canvas panel. Canvas panels are expensive to render, basically. Every single element inside of it is like running this layout cost, or at least I've been told canvas panel is expensive. We don't like using canvas panels. And we especially don't like using canvas panels with scale boxes, size boxes, and overlays nested all through them. This is actually a nice hierarchy so far. The only thing I don't like is the canvas panel. And at the moment, let's have a look. We've got a button that is, the whole thing is a button. That's fine. There's a border in there. Oh. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, that's not ideal. That's not ideal, to be honest. The artwork's not ideal. The artwork should not be this massive thing. We will resolve that later. Right now I want to resolve the cool coloring thing, so let's just go quickly do that. Right, in here, in the research area, where we're going to put all of our artwork, UI assets. UI assets folder, I see. So we don't want to be putting materials in there by the looks. So we've got UI assets, widgets, research, tree, enums, materials. And in here we're going to do m underscore UI retainer desaturate. And in here we're going to create a texture block. We're going to convert this to parameter. We'll just call this texture. Copy that. Change this to a UI domain. Plug this in. And we also want to actually plug in the opacity to both of these as well. And then just say that this is translucent. Give this a default of white. And compile that. Jump into our research item. We're going to have to wrap the entire canvas panel with a retainer box, which is actually going to make the canvas panel cheaper. Because now we can actually invalidate it as well, which is cool. We're going to shove our retainer in here. The texture parameter is texture, that we've already done that. Show the effects in the designer, yes, please do. We're going to actually make an instance of this. And we'll use that instance in here. And then here we'll have desaturation and a fraction. Desaturation, 100% desaturation on the color into the color channel. Save that. Go back. Well, you can see it's already applied here, so that's pretty cool. It does, however, have a slight sepia hue. So we do need to colorize as well. So after we've desaturated it entirely, let's go and get the multiply here. Put a color in. Convert to parameter, and we'll just say color. Plug that in. Give this some sort of like default that seems reasonable, like some sort of really soft sepia there. Slight peachy sepia in this case. Yeah, so it's already too dark there. So this is why we use the material instance, because we can drag this out and then go and play with that color. So if we just say it's white, 2 times white, 1.5 times. Yeah. Oh, and it hides. Oh, I guess the locked style is going to hide a lot of this. So let's go to the locked style. It doesn't. Cheeky. Right, the locked style doesn't hide this button. Let's go make sure that that happens. Set visibility. Locked item, unlockable item, locked item. Okay. So let's go and get the state. If it's equal to locked, then we will select the visibility. And the visibility, if it is locked, is collapsed. And the visibility of the button, if we are not locked, is visible so that we can click it. And so here, update item, I'm just going to put this at the end here. So this is a nice way of writing your state-based logic for your blueprint. If you're doing it, is that you read one track and you say, okay, this can have a different state based on whatever the incoming state parameters are, rather than having to go through each of these and then be like, oh, this one happened to set the visibility incorrectly. You only have one visibility node. It's basically, rather than writing the code 3 times, write it once and use the selector. That's like the bottom line there. That little bit of advice. Just need to turn my light on. All right. Well, we're back. This time with light. It would be really cool if that... yeah. All right, let's crack on. We are at... It was the border that we needed to hide. We are at the... that means that this can be non-hit testable. Sort of at the midpoint of the stream, I think, for today. This is a color. Cool. It's definitely a color. Let's look back at our reference real quick one more time. It's this color. It's a color. I'm just going to bring this over and do it by eye. Actually, can I color pick? Ah! Damn it. We need less blue, we need more red. Or more yellow. Oh yeah, now we're cooking. Right, we're gonna leave it there. That's our locked. That's our locked color for now. It's similar. It's not the same, but it's similar. We'll save that. Make sure that our default, I think it was the unlockable item. And one thing about the retainer box is we're going to need to disable it. So if we turn this off, it doesn't retain the render, otherwise it does. So we need to do that here. Set retain render, and then it will be the same So I'll process here. If it is locked, then it is retained, rather than true in one fault, rather than true in this function, false in this function, false in this function. Okay, so now we can switch between the unlocked item, that looks cool, the locked item, yeah, nice. Good idea. One thing though, that image is incorrect. There we go. Looking good. Okay, back to the research tree. Got locked items, unlocked items. Yeah, cool. Let's get our research. What did I call it? I don't remember what I called it. I called it something. Maybe there's some information on the Trello. Research tabs, researches and cooking. What's this for? Tabs that will change from cooking research and item research. No idea. Not gonna worry about it right now. Ornaments. Yeah, it looks cool. I mean, we can add extra embellishments on these if we want. We just put a content around this, and then we just add the content after. But nothing is telling me right now. A couple of things. I can't look at that offset anymore. So these two items here, they're not wrapped in a horizontal. There we go. Then that horizontal can be sized to whatever it needs to be. That thing can be whatever size it needs to be. And then it's got some text on it that goes to the right. And that horizontal box, in this case, we're using it in that kind of way, right? So that moves over here and just a little bit there. And again, color of the text is wrong. And also the star is way too wide, so we'll go -5 here. Oh no, -2. Right, that's cool. And then we'll just move that horizontal box over a smidge, and then we'll just name it. It's the horizontal bar. It's the horizontal box for the star level. Nice. Yep. Basically, it was just bothering me. Very cool. And that's the nice thing about not having 3 different widget switchers with different styles in each one, because I've now fixed that, and in this particular case the styles are all exactly the same. So we've now just fixed it for all 3, so kudos on the original author. However, it's off. These 2 labels are padded where this is center lined and then this is along the bottom. This is wrong. Let's go fix that. We've got another one of these where, yeah, so what we want to do is, this wants to be a border, it wants to wrap the text, because it needs to change size as the text changes, right? Maybe? Maybe not. But at minimum we need to move it, so let's at least move it. Can I just move it like this? No, I can't do that. That would be too easy. Okay. Let's just move it by hand. Oh no, it doesn't like that either. Really isn't a big fan of that. Where is this? It's in a horizontal box. Why? This looks like it wants to be in a horizontal box. Yeah, and it is, so that's cool. This wants to be dead center. What I'm seeing on the reference, that wants to be super center. That wants to be like that. And then our 2 star is a little bit lower. text is bold, but we don't have a bold text here. So a way that you can cheat, if it lets you, is you just stick an outline of the same color. It just looks like crappy word art. What we can do maybe is add a drop shadow to it, just to give it a little bit more depth. Although I am stretching the design a little bit. And it looks crap, so let's not do that. Okay. That font's wrong though. That font needs to, like, when you look at this from sort of the 1x, you yeah, you can't even read it. And then over here it's like, yeah, nice. Interesting. In fact, a lot of this I can't read at 1x scale. So there's definitely a problem to continue resolving with this entry, but I am really interested in going to the research tree and actually making something. Why is this a thing? What does this do? Unlock button. Image size. Don't know what that does. We'll just leave it at 120, I guess. I'm such a stickler. I can't leave things alone. Right. I just can't leave. This button. It's in the wrong place. I'm going to do the simpler transformation, which basically just moves it from its original axis by some units, which saves you from editing the padding, because editing the padding is going to change the layout, basically. As evidenced, if I just go and change the padding right now and say, actually, I want this to be to the left slightly. Oh, lo and behold, it doesn't do it in this instance, but usually it will have an effect on other things. Okay, yeah, so now that, but this is really small. 1x scale, that's really small. Yeah, and that's at 19 to, that's at like the smallest resolution. We need to scale these up. We must scale them up. So we're going to go 1:1. We're going to, how are we going to, we're going to grab the 1920 by 1080 here. We're going to grab, just take the locked item. And what I'd like to do is actually just take, I don't want to do this. What we need to do is, well, before we can build out our element that is like the full unlock, we need to be able to put them into a box together and they actually respect each other's size. And so usually in order to do that, you would have this, oh, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted. I don't want that pen thing. Go away, pen. You would have some border like this, right? And then the next one comes in, it's this big, this big. Well, keep it as close to the line as possible. So in this case, I'm thinking of trying to enforce it to be this big. And as long as the width of this never changes, then we're good. Basically, you just lock the size of this item. And in order then, well, first I'm going to do this. I'm going to cut this. This is going to be my style guide. I'm going to go and find that in the screenshots folder. I'm going to import that in here. Save it and bring it in this case, wrap this with an overlay. We'll just have to recreate this a little bit. Fine, it's not going to let me do that. Image, overlay. Take this image. Yeah, okay. So that's better. That's a lot better. Yeah, you can see the... Look at the enormous difference. Does this version of Unreal have attachment? It doesn't. I think it's another common UI thing. You get this attachment, and the attachment basically lets you put it off the screen. So what we'll do is we'll bring it here. No, actually, we'll keep it on the canvas panel. We will utilize the beauty of the canvas panel. We will align it from here. Alignment will be 1. .5. So the text can move left and right. And I think it's the line height is doing something interesting here. No? Okay, it's the size. It's the size. Scale to size here like this. Okay. This is also italic. We don't have the italic. So we will skew it just slightly. Just to give it the same appearance as we have on the design there. And then the font wise or font size wise, much bigger. We're about 18. Yeah, it's looking better. Okay. And then for these elements, so let's just hide some stuff. Can I just hide these? No. Okay. Just like manually size it. Yeah, this is annoying. I need to wrap this entire thing. No. Let's wrap this with the size box. Sorry, shrink it down. We bring it out to the size of the image that we want. Okay, 150 by 100 is the size of a typical item. And then now we should be able to do whatever we want with the rest. So border here. Okay. Something like that. Just make sure it's equal, so 210 by 210. Okay. These two images. So great, those two images aren't the same size. Serious? Nope, those images should be the same size. I see someone has oh no. I was tripping out then. I was like, wait a second, someone's just faded out the text on this thing to get the image. No, it's the image behind. Which is good because I'm about to use that to determine the size of this. Make sure that these are center aligned. Size to content, 0.5, 0.5. And then just anchor it where it needs to be. Do I want to anchor it like that? I think I want to anchor it from the left side actually. So that when the text changes, it's moving all these words to the right. Then that would be nicer. Put 18 on the size here. Center on this guy. Double the size on this. Didn't like that, huh? Oops. Yeah, I can see the button in the back. It is the right size, it's just not in the right position. So then we just do this. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, about there. This does not want to be brought to the right. In fact, it wants to be brought there. Sorry, what? Why would it do that? I anchored it from the top right. Did I not? I did not. Yeah. Okay, now at 1x scale, it's at least marginally easier to read. Might take some liberties on the positioning of some of these elements because they just need to be moved down, I think. But yeah, so now back on our reference, we can just scrub. And now we've got something that is a lot closer. Again, we've got the sheer or the italics on these this font, but we don't have the right font. Is what it is. The reason that I think, well, one main thing, the reason I think these need to move down a little bit is just because it doesn't feel balanced. Not from an art perspective, just like UMG is just not feeling like it's done it right. It's not UMG's fault, it's my fault. But I'm going to blame UMG. Because everyone blames UMG. UMG is great. It's just a tool. Sure. This feels awkward. We're just going to move you up. No, not that way. That's going to have to do, I think. Well, I know that this text at the top here is still too close, so it just needs to come up maybe by like 5 units. Up by about 10 units. And then increased in scale slightly. Oh, sometimes it's italic, sometimes it's not italic. Wonder if they're already changing the font style in the widget. Find references. Buttons. It's the brushes. It's just setting the text. Set the text, set the text. Yeah, so they're not changing the style, so that's fine. There is a style difference between unlockable, unlocked, and locked. Yarp. Yarp. Okay, where are we at? We are 1.5 hours in. We haven't gotten to the super meaty, juicy part yet, which is the splines. So let's actually try and get even just a little bit of that done. This is already more readable. At one by one here in the top left. Run our test. I might have made it a little bit too big. You can see what I mean about these little tabs. I feel like they might be too tall. Also, the color. Oh yeah, this monitor over here. Wait, which one has the broken color? One of my monitors has a broken color. Like it's missing. Yeah. So I literally have to go like this. Check the color. Yeah, I did a foolish thing. This should just be grey. It is just grey. Over here, it looks like it was not. So now I just need to go change that. That's disgusting. This one. Hey, what color would you like to be? How do you feel about grey? Cool. Also, why is it so bright? Interesting. Might need to do some like power and stuff. But anyway, it's desaturated. We could play with the shader later. It's grey. It's definitely grey. It's just that when I look at this, when I look at this, get rid of that Google search for merchandise. It's not the same color. It's not the same color here. This is all softer, more muted. This is bright freaking grey. Oh, sorry, dark grey here, bright grey here. So that needs a bit of work. Or just ignore it. But it is kind of garish. Okay, let's make a research item. It's getting late in the day. Research tree widgets, or rather widgets, research tree, cool. So research item here. We don't really need the reference now, because we're done with it. So we can grab that reference that we had and delete it. Now we've set the scale up. Let's go make a new user widget. What I'll at least do today is get one of them made with the spline tech, and we'll take a look and be like, cool. Gotta cut it off here because I want to go hang out with my kid. W_research block. I'm just going to call it a research block. Okay, so in this case we are going to use a canvas panel because that makes the most sense for this. Wrap it with a size box. I'm going to need to harvest a reference again, as usual. Which I was going to use this top left one, but it's partially cut off. It's fine. We can still do it. Actually, I've already got it right here, so that's cool. Let's grab this. New. Control V, C, drag it off the left. Okay, that's sorted. Just get rid of this line. Yeah. I'm glad I'm doing this because that doesn't go far enough. Okay, that's our research block is what we're going to be making for the next sort of hour. So, okay, file. Actually, we can move this in a little bit, I think. Selected as the research. References research block. And then bring our reference in. The research block in here. It will be in the thing. There we go. References folder. With an overlay. Oops. Did I just make two of those? I did. Yeah. Size-wise, rather important, I would say. 1024-ish. By like 480 or something? No, 510, yeah. No, that's wrong. Boop, boop, boop. Canvas panel, and fade this guy out. There we go. Actually, we don't. We just need one entry. There we go. I'm going to name this one widget entry unlocked item. Is a variable that exists with its own desired size right down here. Look at that, it's already smaller. I am enraged. Just make it. No, I can't even do that. It's still not the right size. Look. It's not the right size, ladies and gentlemen. It is the bloody wrong size. How did I screw that up? I guess I must have done it right. I don't believe I did it wrong. So I'm just, what am I going to do? I'm going to scale this down a bit and in a bit. Oh, I know. This will be funny. I mean, it's not going to be the case, but... No, it's going to be like, is it 0.75 by any chance? Multiplied by 0.8. Cool. We'll be able to resize that later anyway. So 820 by 360. 820 by 360. Cool. Lock it. Move this. This is the unlocked item, and then I need to be able to set which side the text is on. So we'll do that afterwards. Now let's get a horizontal. Be bound to the top and right with no offsets. Decent amount of size there. Cool. That's our horizontal. We'll get 5, 2, 3, 4, 5 in there. And then what I want to do is have, I guess, sliced, no, center slice to content? 0.5? No? What's going on there? Just moves it. Position. Right, something like that. It's directly above, so anyway, we need to add padding to each of these elements at least. I think it's like, nope. Gotta turn all of these into, oh, I already had them selected. Gotta turn all of these into an unlockable item. We have to read this. Hands up, made the text too big. Too spicy with the text, right. Okay. So we have a block and it's not aligned correctly. So we're just gonna position it over slightly. Feels good. Okay, let's get one spline in. One spline. One primer spline light. Yes, we'll put it into the canvas panel. So what this asset does is it allows you to edit splines directly in the UMG viewport, which is something that the default Unreal can't do. I wrote this plugin. This is a plugin of my own design. I did not write the plugin. I had AI write the plugin, but I designed it and I created all the UX affordances for the ability to configure how it looks. I didn't tell it to disappear when you zoom in. That's just a caveat of Unreal Engine. And one of the things that I designed was the concept that you can grab these points and you can set some anchors on target widgets. So we're going to do that now. The target widget, let's actually go name everything first. This is the unlocked item, and this is the unlockable item _1. I just need to rename all of these. 2, 3, 4, 5. Sweet. Right. And you could programmatically loop through the number. In fact, we're gonna do that. We're gonna try it. We're gonna loop, and we're gonna create a spline widget for each one of these inside this horizontal box, unlockable items, and then we're gonna create a spline widget for each one. Well, before I do that, let me at least show you some other cool things about this spline widget. So let's bring this down here. You can set the anchors, right? So let's just set the anchor to the unlockable item, and then we'll set the other anchor to item 1, and then you can define how the anchor tangents work. So for this one, the tangent vector is 1. So now you get this tangent vector down here, and you can change the power of this. So that feels pretty good. You can also set the anchor position, so that'll be 1. And then it's just off to the left a bit, right? So that's cool. We want this to be behind all the graphics. So now we have this line, but the right-hand side isn't configured, right? So to find out which point that is, we just need, can I just click it? That one, 0.0, right? So it's at the top, 0, and then it's off to the left slightly, and then the tangent vector I think is going to be -1 here, and then we'll give it a little bit more strength. So now it might not be exactly like the reference, but it's a spline, and the splines didn't exist before. So this is the splines that we had, or that we wanted. This is a spline that we have. Let's give it a material, because otherwise it looks shit. Pardon my French. It's Monday. Let's go to plugins, demo content materials, and just grab this material instance here. Drag this into the tree. Actually, it's a bad idea. Let's grab the base material, and we'll call this MUI spline. Painterly spline. It's going to be a painterly spline. Okay. So what we can do in here is we can define our color, which I'm just going to go and quickly color grab from over here. Cool. We've got a brown. We have basically just got a sign that has a bit of a feather, a bit of a line width, a bit of a color. It's named reroute this. Named reroute color. Just bring this in here. Color. Name this. Bars. Just name this. Down here. Just named reroute this. Opacity. Keep our materials nice and clean. Awesome. Okay. Grab this. Opacity. Alrighty, so yeah, this has a smooth step and it does some stuff with the little gradient, right? So let's grab this, save it, jump into here, take a look at this line width. What do we got? Got this, got a little bit of a feather. That's cool. What we need to do now is sort of like create a some cutting in here, I will say. Call it some noise. Not that kind of noise, texture noise. The other type of noise is expensive. We want to multiply our opacity by I actually forget how we do this. We go look at these. 0.38, 0.38, and then the feather is 0.38. Okay, so we have this feather. If I then multiply the feather, it multiplies it over the entire width. What I want to do is use the 1 minus of this with this to create this noise, which if we start previewing it, it's kind of cool. We need to power and multiply this a little bit. This might actually happen on every single... Yeah, this might not look good. This isn't going to look good, I've just realized. So we can preview the splines wireframe. Dupe. And so every single one of these squares is this material. And so when it's just this gradient, it's fine. But when you want to do something that sort of like smoothly transitions over the whole thing, not as easy. I have a material in another project that does do that. It's called an interval, and you basically, you can figure out all of the intervals. I suppose I could globally, let's try and globally. Can we globally? Can we globally? I will need, we could try and globally do it. Let's do a quick bit of GPT here. New chat. I have a UI shader with the get user interface UVs and screen size, etc. And I want to apply noise global screen space to all. I have a texture with a noise pattern. Right, so it's hopefully going to tell me what to do, and then all I do is I multiply. Let's just figure this last part out while that's doing that. We multiply here to create the, we got the noise, like the cutouts. We need to do some extra, stuff in here. Let's actually create noise power. Just go 4 here, and we'll go noise multiply here. Just go 2 in there, maybe. So you start getting the, you can see this cutout that we're starting to get, kind of. I need it to do is be very white over here, so maybe we can use min. Maybe we can use max. Oh. Oh. Wait, yeah. Max. Multiply it. No, multiply here. Come on. There we go. So now you can see I'm cutting out like some interesting shapes here. So that's what we want to do. Cool. Yeah, then once we've got those interesting shapes, it's about trying to get it onto, to cut out into this line, right? which I think I'm actually doing it in the wrong direction. Oh yeah, close enough. Cool. So that goes into opacity. Shader UI. Never done that before. Just get good at the shaders. It's a little bit harsh. I'm going to go and check out some of these numbers here. It's good enough. And then I think there'll be some other stuff. The core idea is that the UI UVs that the interface UVs give you are local to the widget brush. Noise will stick to each element. Screen and viewport UVs are global, and every UI element samples the sample noise field at the same screen position, which is how we want it to work through this UVs here. We're going to control these UVs to make this in screen space. Get the global screen UV, which is using screen position, and then sure, pixel position, or just viewport UVs maybe, I don't know. Add noise and scale. Okay, well, I'm going to start tiling it here. So let's multiply this by an append vector. We'll just say noise x tile and duplicate that one more time. Noise y tile. Okay. Plug that in here. Make this 1 by 1. Apply that. Jump back over here and apply our painterly material to our UI here, and then turn off the wireframe. And then it's like dead hard to see because we're on gray background, but it is there. I can promise you. Promise you it's there. Hot Topic is phoning me. How may I help you? Hello there.
Hey, this is Hot Topic Metrotron. I was just calling to let you.
I lost my headphones, but I have my headphones back now. So let's get cracking. We're going to try and finish this up. All right. It's a long one. Right. Okay. So I can play with the noise. I can increase the noise. I can increase the noise, right? Make it bigger, make it smaller. Why do I get the feeling that's not doing anything? It's very difficult to tell. Let's go image here, full screen. Go 1 times. Let's bring our texture back in here. We'll get the line feather. The more noise power we're adding, the more we are getting aliasing, because the original fade is creating a nice anti-alias for us. So that's a bit of a problem. You can see as I change this, there's just like a slight warble to the texture, which is cool. Noise multiply. Did my numbers the wrong way around, that's for sure. Get a double line in there. My hand is literally getting tired. Okay. That'll do. It's got a little bit of a painterly vibe to it. Okay, anyway, so now we can, now that we know that it looks okay, we can probably go and finish up the rest of the code. And then we'll have 4 of those. Although, if I go and look at the reference again, let's jump, always look at the reference. It is thicker. I do also want to try and figure out how to get that that sharp curve in, because that sharp curve is really nice. But it says it wants to go all the way down here. That would be wrong. Yeah, so the problem would be is that I would actually need another point. Why can't I create another point here? Delete these. This one's anchor is the unblockable one. This one's anchor is the unlocked one. This new point should not have an anchor. What? Okay, you're on the wrong side. Oh, I keep editing the wrong ones. Right. Element 0, cool. Element 2? There you are. Right. Yeah, so you could just manually put this to create the curve that I want. And then I'd have to do that for every single one, which is what it is. But now I get my tight curves in there, which is what I was looking for. Grab this and we're going to make this tangent here. Okay, and then you can turn off the lines and just take a look at how it looks, which is like this. It needs a little bit of work for the aliasing. Oh, okay. And it's not behind. It's not behind the items. Yeah, there we go. So you can actually read the thing. That unlock text actually needs to go below. Let's go and fix that quick. Alright, so how would this work? You would just change the anchor. Then it also offsets it. Set this to 0, 0. Set this to 0. Set position to 0, 10. No. Easier way to do that. Text underscore top item. Actually, so text underscore unlock state underscore top, and then we'll just duplicate it. Text underscore unlock state underscore. Do this position. It underneath. No X offset. But that top one shouldn't have an X offset either. Where's my music? Okay. Set the visibility of these. Very cool. Cut and put that in the update item entry. One thing that I like to do is if we're definitely going to be returning in a function and we're not returning anything, is I just put the return on a sequence at the end here so I can just code away inside the graph here. I'll put some selectors in here. And in fact, this selector is just promote to variable text top true by default. All that. Okay, text top true by default. Oh, true by default. There we go. If the text top is true, then the bottom text is collapsed, otherwise it's visible. If the text top is true, the top text is visible and the bottom text is collapsed. There we go. Whoops. Okay, so you do not have top text. I can't change that because it's not a variable. I should change the save on compile to success. That's a little bit nicer. Go to the research tree. No, go to the research block. Text top, no. Text top, bottom, yes. So I guess unlocked items don't have days and things on them, so we're going to also hide that. I like these being borders, but it is nicer this way. Just got to bring all these in. Right, we've got this background. Crown text background, item days text background. And then we should have item text as well. Okay. Set the visibility of all of this based on something, which I think is just if it is an unlocked item, then they don't cost money and they're not days driven, maybe? We'll see. Right now, we're just going to say if the research state is an unlocked item, then we're going to collapse those elements and we're going to... and if it's not, then we will set them to non-hit test invisible. Sorted. There you go. Even closer, I think, unless I'm tripping out here. No. Okay. That is definitely bold text. We're missing bold, some sort of bold font in there. Oh, maybe they gave us the fonts. I have the Google. I do have the Google. Oh my gosh, the fonts are right there. Right, we're just going to import the fonts real quick because I don't think we actually have them. Fonts. We have all of these. Oh. What's going on here? Okay, I need to fix this because that's wrong. Georgia Z, Georgia I, Georgiab. Yeah, okay. Something's messed up. Let's have a look. Right, we've got some text. It's Georgia. Let's open up Georgia. In Georgia, we have the default, and we're going to add maybe the italics. Let's have a look here. IAB. What does it look like? Default quick. Okay. Bold. Georgia bold. Georgia B. Georgia Georgia I. Sure, that's going to be italic. Okay. Let's fix that. So let's go to the Georgia font. This is italic, so that'll be Georgia I. I. So now we've got the italic here, quick brown fox. Then we go Georgia bold. So I don't think you have the rights to use Georgia, unless the person paid for Georgia, I suppose. Georgia B. There's two sets: Game UI, Game Core. Game Core, UI, fonts, Georgia. Right. That's a problem. Just another. It's just one of just another problem. These are in the undo history. Yeah, now we're just gonna get rid of them. We can't be having two sets of identically named font faces in the project. That's gonna make it really difficult to work on. Okay. So back in the UI fonts, we have Georgia, and we have a Georgia font. We have bold. We're going to use Georgia B. We've got Georgia I, and there's another one, which I don't actually know what it was. Georgia Z. Oh, bold italic. Fair enough. Save that. And then just delete these other ones. Nope. Go and replace them. So now I have to go through the reference viewer wherever the Georgia bold font is used and actually make sure that it's using font in the way that it needs to be done, because that is important. So we've got all these different names, which we will we'll fix this in the future. Like, we're not going to obviously like predetermine these. We're going to populate them. Maybe you do predetermine them, but I imagine that they want to be random. At least now we've got the bold font, which means that we can fix the number 2 as well on place that we had. Right, so these are all Georgia B. So now we just make them Georgia, but we make them bold. And that's done. This one is boss, which is all good. This one's Georgia italic. So we just go back to Georgia and we just pick italic. This one is plain walker, so that's fine. Can compile that now, and then when we go back to the reference viewer, wherever that's disappeared to, there you are. I can see you. Double click this now, it gets one shorter every time. And that just takes time. Text, Georgia bold, compile, save. Ledger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nope. Oh. Something in here doesn't use the same font. Oh, that's boss. Boss. Georgia, bold. Georgia bold. Georgia bold. Okay. Georgia bold. Sorted. Back to the double click this just to double check that that's actually been removed. Sorry, come again. It is still in here somewhere. Ah. Okay. Okay. This looks like it's meant to be a modal. But again, it's got like the massive bleed space that you don't need nor want for memory. This is just default, and then acknowledge is bold. Okay. Staff recruit page. Okay, we've got a bunch of text in here again. Quickest way to do this might be to do that, and then this would all be Georgia font here. Okay. Now, double click on this, and this doesn't have any references. We can browse to the asset. That was a problem, so bold, italic, Z, and all of these. Should be able to hit the reference viewer on this. And they only reference each other. No. Oh no, the Georgia font. Yeah, bad example. Georgia font's fine. Georgia Z. That one's not used. That one's not used. That one's not used. So now that we've verified that, we can just go ahead and delete. No, sorry, no we can't. We delete just the font styles here, these. It says that it's used in the undo history, but it's safe to delete in that case. And then you can right click on here, update fixed redirectors, and then you're good. Right, so back to work. Back to work. Control P, research, block. Okay. So we look at this animation. Yeah, we got some issues with padding here that we need to resolve. Actually makes sense why that line looks so weird. Let's get this horizontal box moved. So it wants to be down here. I think. Yeah, close enough there. Happy with that. Then just get that spline is, or the spline line is a little bit tight now. Okay. And now it would just be the case. I'll get rid of this. Where's the reference? Yeah, when we've got these 5 lines, they actually come out from different areas, so I need to resolve that. just the first spline's first 0.0 needs to be shifted over to the left. It does go too high as well. So what we can do is turn that back on, grab both of these points and just bring these down. Should really just make these anchor tangents manual. Oh, that didn't work. Okay, we will go auto distance. Okay, let's get a new one. And it should now just hopefully be the case of changing a couple of things each time. This one, get rid of those. This one, move these 2 points. Oh, move these 2 points up. Then change the anchor for the second point, item 2. Now we have 2 of those, and then we need to move the thing to there. Look at that, whip, whip. Pretty cool little tool. I'm super happy with this tool, I have to say. This one anchors to number 3. Let's have a look in the designer here. I'm just going to delete the center points. I did something the wrong way around, I think. Yep, this is supposed to be the unlocked item. This is number 3. Gotta make sure that this is straight. Cool. Okay, got our next one. You could programmatically do this, like you could just set, you know, once you know all the numbers, it's like, oh yeah, for each is 0.5 across the thing. That's the unlocked items. Unlockable item number 4. Move this along. Yeah, actually, I want to duplicate a different one. I want to duplicate that one. Let's put these in the right order though, so it will be easier. It's item number nope. Control Z that. Unlocked item number 4. Nope. Control Z that. Unlocked item. This one. Item number 4. What have I done? Oh, right. I see the problem. Or that. There? Yeah, maybe? one more. It's not letting me pick. Let me pick that. Win. Okay. Splines in UMG don't exist. Now they do. And we have something that is looking close to what we want for this graphic. I have made it touch, which I shouldn't have done. But there should be an offset to those, and I can do that. Now that we have this cool thing, pretty much all of them except that, and then we've got anchor position 5. Oh, 0, 1, 0, -1, 0. Okay, it's not this one, it's the other one. 5. Okay, position 139, 0. Oh, anchor, sorry. Yeah, 1, and you just go 1.1, 1.2. And that's good, and then also need to do it on the middle one. Oh, little skill tree, little skill tree. All items, unlocked item, that should say, although I suppose the reason for that is because I didn't finish the code properly. Edit this. We have text unlock state bottom. Let's go find the references to unlock state top. Actually a bug with this graph. Interesting. Yeah, the reason I don't like putting them in different, putting the code like this in different graphs that then control like the text. You've now got like 3 different places where text can change and color and other things, and you've got to maintain them all. I think I mentioned this earlier, but basically I had to go and do that just then. And what I noticed in doing it is that if you go from being an unlocked item to a locked item, you'll change your color to white, but then you'll never go back. So the maintenance cost there is a little bit naff. And what I might actually do is just go and fix it for them as well. So we take it out of here, we put it here, we, oops. Put this here, we select here, we then take the enum and plug it in, and then we put the 3 texts in here. The unlocked item. And this one will be unlockable item. Cool. And then again, this can go just at the end of the graph. It's something that's based on state. Often we'd have like on research entry changed, and then you could just change the text, but this is also clean. So then back over here again in this coloring, I'm going to cut that out of there, put that at the end, and we're going to select the color. I'm just going to drop this into the UI here and select color. I think what I've seen is that it's the unlock state was doing color, and then this state was also doing color, different color as well. So we'll take that out. That's the unlock state 2, whatever that means. Unlocked item. Okay. And then this one just didn't set color at all. So let's go and select color off of here. Oops, I did the wrong thing. No, did it again. Select color. Then we use the research state here. Right. So the first one was unlockable. Yeah. Unlockable was this color. Unlocked was this color. And then I've got a locked item somewhere that I was looking at that I will now go and color pick. Okay. That's a little bit cleaner. Hook that up. Okay, let's get rid of this test animation and this image reference. And we don't need this background image. This is just straight up our first like unlock block, and then in our research page widgets, there's a research tree. I think it's this one. We can get rid of all of these items. We don't want those. Canvas panel. I think we want a scroll box, honestly. It's a vertical, it's a horizontal scroll box with controlled padding. Research block. Let's just put 2 of these in for now. Set this to horizontal. I managed to not set that to actually do what I needed it to do. Let's get rid of the canvas panel. Right, scroll. Fill? Yes. Research block. Back-to-back research block at the moment. Let's just get 150 units of padding in here. Get rid of all this. Okay. Okay. Let's get this scroll box padded from the top a little. Okay. And probably ideally from the bottom as well. This isn't going to work great. It's going to require a little bit more work, is what I'm trying to say. I think these buttons are going to be too big. I think we're going to need to shrink these buttons down just a smidge, but I could be wrong. Maybe we'll just change this. Oh, doesn't work. Can't do that. Not allowed. Not allowed. Scroll box here. So what? Let's just Let's go 15. We don't want to show the scroll bar. We don't want to show the scroll bar. So in the style for the bar thickness, we should just be able to set to 0 and then compile. No, of course not. Why would that work? That wouldn't be the Unreal way. That would be too easy. That'd be too easy. Oh, I have a comment. Oh my god. Brazil, love your work. I have a Discord community and people is always sharing your content. Awesome. Hi, Brazil. Brazilian people are some of the nicest people I've ever met. Also the horniest. Again, sorry for my candidness. It's a Monday. I've had a really boring weekend. I've not really done much. I don't get out enough. But yeah, awesome people, great to drink with, hilarious people. Friendly, kind, strong. Very strong people, I would say. Strong-minded. There's almost a Finnishness to the demeanor. But super up for a laugh actually, which is Finnish as well. Bar thickness. Why is that not working? Not working. Have I got drink? Okay, fine. We'll draw it as none. This track that you're listening to right now is the actual track for the game. Like the one that's in the trailer. A little bit of lo-fi. Cool. We have pretty much got there. After I sized everything up, I realized I might need to size everything back down a little bit. Okay. They're going to want to adorn these uniquely, and we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, but the concept would be to have some sort of... The way I would do it is I would, for this game, how would I do it? Oh yeah, I would have some data asset basically. So I'd go into the graph here, I'd have some data asset over in my skill tree as I'm creating my different skill trees. I basically like define the data asset on the right, and it holds maybe even just an overlay widget that it just throws on top of there, or just call it a frame. I could just define a widget and just be like, that's the widget that goes over the top of the main frame. And so then you could have like cooking items coming off of this, like just embellishments. And I see that embellishment in the default here for like this wooded style. And so a data asset would still be cool because maybe these pips are different, but I like the consistency. I think consistency is good. So let's go and see if we can find those little leaves. Yep, here they are. Research arrows. Cool. I love that all of the locked research arrows actually have arrows on them. All of the unlocked ones have some on that some don't. So what we're going to do is we're going to power them all with the same exact one, and you get to decide which one it's going to be. So we're going to get an image in here. Just going to drop this in, size it to content, pick an arrow for now. We'll go with this nice green one. Pop that in there. Let's go 32 by 32. And just bring it up. Just put that there. And we're done. Look at that. No, that's not going to work. We're actually going to need to do this. Or even better, this. Okay, so from here, we'll just call this image underscore arrow. And we're actually going... yeah, there's a bit of a problem now. I'm actually going to make a new canvas, because we need to be able to determine which one's which. Like, I want to get all arrows in the canvas, is what I'm trying to say. I'm just bad at saying it. This can just be full size. We'll just take the arrow, just put it on the other canvas. There we go. Right, so this is the canvas panel for arrows. The reason I wanted to put them in there is because now I can use this canvas panel to get all arrows. And that's going to make my life a lot easier moving forward. Okay, so Control C, Control V on there. A little bit. Yeah, these arrows don't always render. 110. Nope. Wait, 1.6. Okey-dokey. Another one in there. .485, nope. 482. 481. 482. Okay. That's all the arrows. Then we can come in here. Turns out there wasn't that many arrows, but get all children. Each. Cast to image. Set texture soft. Mode to variable. Soft texture arrow. Compile. Get the arrow. It was like research arrow. So we use the green one. Put that on the pre-construct here. Cool. Delete the tick because we don't want that. Okay. And then over in our research tree, of course, it just totally doesn't work. Why would it work first time? That'd be silly. Oh, okay. Just needed a refresh. Yeah, and there's a problem with the arrow, with the oh. There's a problem with the spline tool. Oh no. On mouse move, set render translation. Yeah, you don't need to do that. Let's get rid of that function. On mouse button down is dragging the research tree. The research tree goes left and right. So it's a scroll box, and it natively has the drag, so we don't need that function. We don't need to undo maps dragging. We don't need to edit the render translation. Zooming, setting the render translation, also very similar to using a scroll box. So we'll get rid of that. User interface, paint on paint. Someone's attempt to make lines, I imagine. Bind to tabs. All good. Hey, Devon. Dev online. Devon. That is a name. It's a name. You can't blame me. 24. You're deving 24 hours. 24 hours a day. Every day. 9 till 5. Alright, we've got the bind tabs. Hope you're doing well. Hello, mate. Want to put some clothes on? I'm on camera. Say hi to Brazil. Buddy. Can't be standing in my room with no pants on. Oh, chocolate on your face. Alright. Say hi. Oh, you look tired. Yes, 24/7, all the time. Right, I'm working, I'm almost done. Okay? Give me 10 minutes. Huh?
Hi, Brazil.
Give me 10 minutes.
I want to hear Brazil.
You want to hear Brazil?
Yeah.
Give it up, Brazil. He wants to hear all of you. Okay, what was I doing? I was doing something really intelligent. Okay, here we are. Yeah, what would be really intelligent would be to make this soft texture arrow a variable so I could actually pick it and show what the point of that was, which is to do, one second, to do that. So now you can change these cool little arrows because I don't know which one they actually want. So a little bit of decoration on there. And I'm going to commit that, and that's going to, it doesn't do anything. It's got no code. Clamp sides, yeah, that looks like it's part of that scroll logic. Is dragging map native now? Cool. Edit, delete unused variables, dragging pan speed, zoom. Zoom we will reintroduce.
Daddy.
Maybe.
Daddy.
Don't know if we need to.
This is serious, Daddy.
Okay, one sec, mate. Let's be. Okay. Right. It's been awesome. I realize I've gone really late. It's 3 hours in. We do have the foundation of a research tree, which was the top priority on the list. I'm going to go and finish off basically the inverted version of that with a little bit of grey on it.
No, you're not. I'm gonna play my favorite game.
No, I'm telling them what I'm going to do when I'm not on the computer one day. Like, I'm not doing it right now is what I mean. Yeah, I'm going to go and play games. That's what I'm going to go do. So yeah, thanks for watching. it's time to go. Say bye-bye.
Bye bye. And also, Daddy's gonna go downstairs to play some games with me.
I sure am, buddy. Thanks, everybody. And see you in the next one.
Miss you.